Hello, everyone. We are just 2 days after the Sagittarius new moon, which was quite special with Uranus there. And I hope that you did manage to start brand new things and you managed also to come over or to overcome whatever was stuck in your life. And on the 16th, there's an exact Sun Aries fire trine. So again, we are getting a push from the universe, which helps us to come out of old embedded stuck energy patterns. What is Aries? Aries is one of the karma breakers. I do have some videos on Aries and Astrea. Both are prominent in today's chart. Aries is the outside karma breaker. Drastically altered outward circumstances are provided by her. And let's take a look at the London chart before we go on, because it's easier for me to talk about the space-time energy if we have the chart itself. So on December 16th at 11:16 a.m. London time, this is what is happening. As you can see, we have an Aquarius rising. Again, an Aquarius rising, which means that actually Aquarius is a fast riser, and so is Pisces. So here 1 minute is already giving you a different rising degree. On the midheaven, you have Mars and Ceres. Ceres is the nurturing principle and Mars is the warlord. So it shows that in the London chart, war is still prominent, fighting is still prominent, not to speak of the fact that Mars is ruling the things in Aries, besides the North Node Aries conjunction, which is still quite tight, but already separating, and Chiron, of course. Our karmic wounds are all ruled by Mars in another fire sign on the midheaven. We have triplicities of goddesses. Actually, there's the Pallas Athena Venus conjunction, which is now separating. It was exact in the new moon chart. And now Venus is leaving the goddess of wisdom behind and trying to meet up with Lilith, the asteroid Lilith, revolt against injustice. The other triplicity is the dark moon Lilith, which is the acceptance of the curse, retrograde Trans-Pluto, channeling and dimension jump, and Black Moon Lilith, which is the strong feminine goddess behavior when you go back to the Garden of Eden because you have things to do there. And if you take a look, we have a number of retrograde things here. Jupiter is still retrograde. It will turn direct at the end of the year. Mercury is retrograde. It will be stationary on New Year's Eve. So it will be stationary direct on the 1st of January, and then it will move away. And at the same time, you have a Jupiter, Sun in Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter, and Mercury in Capricorn ruled by Saturn. Mercury is, of course, the closest to the Sun, and 60% of the time it is in the same sign as the Sun, and 30% of the time it isn't. So at the moment, when you see this in a natal chart, you can be sure that this may cause all kinds of communication problems simply because the way of thinking of the native and the way of communication are simply not in sync. Definitely not in sync in this time, because this is a structured and reserved communication. At the same time, it's also retrograde, which means you can look inward. It's important for me to mention that I don't really believe in the myth of Mercury shadows and all kinds of things, because they don't seem to work. And also Mercury retrograde is very, very rarely important in our lives. It could be sometimes, occasionally, but it's not an overall really bad thing. It simply means that your communication should go inward. You should think, you should ponder. this is the time to do it. This is the darkest time of the year. We are running towards towards Christmas. We are trying to uplift our souls and our spirits with all kinds of Christmas lights and things around us. But at the same time, we can't have the fact that yes, it is getting darker and gloomier. So this is the time to go inward and soul search because you might find treasures. And okay, so that's what it is. Okay, and let's take a look at the main configuration in the chart, which is a classic trapeze with an angel wing. The classic trapeze, the base of it is provided by the nodes and of course Aries, drastically altered outward circumstances, which then is making a fire trine with the sun. This is the main feature of the of today, and the top of the trapeze is provided by Hygeia and the sun. Hygeia means sacred spaces, cleanliness, balanced behavior, balanced life. And this is exactly what you need to do now. In order to feel good, please try to create some sacred space around you, clean your place, put things in order, and try to make your own physical body also ready for the festivities. And then the angel wing is provided by Neptune. And Neptune, of course, is clairvoyance, transcendental illumination, all kinds of esoteric endeavors, and of course, a universal love. So that's the peak of the angel wing. And not too many transcendental objects. That's why I just didn't put them separately, but we can look at them here. Akhenaten, the special pharaoh who started to worship the sun disk, and yes, this is what we should do now because actually it's really cold and dark and gloomy. Parsifal, a knight in shining armor, and Grumium, which I'm going to show you, which is one of the stars of the celestial dragon. And on Neptune, you have Dionysus, Pythagoras, and Archimedes. Dionysus, water states of consciousness and the beauties of wine. Pythagoras, a mathematician, but also a mystic. He was also the one who created numerology, which is different from mathematics, of course. And Archimedes, the person who created the word Heureka, which I don't know how you English pronounce it, but it's Heureka in Hungarian and in Greek. And it simply means that all of a sudden I realize something. It's the flash of inspiration and sudden understanding. That is on Neptune. And Neptune doesn't really provide such things. That's what Uranus provides instead of Neptune, but still Archimedes is there, so we might have that moment. Okay, here's also an earth water kite, and kites are special configurations because they are much more productive than just the grand trines. This is an earth water kite, so to the earth grand trine you have an opposition point in water, and that is why kites are so much better, because you have the missing energy pattern, the missing element that is pushing it towards action, so to speak, although this is in passive signs, but still. Okay, at the anchor point you have Astrea, the inner karma breaker and destiny changer. Opposite Mercury, of course, communication. Jupiter, big luck and expansion. All three are retrograde though, so their effect is a little bit subdued. And then Black Moon Lilith, the goddess, the returning goddess, who is willing to do stuff because she knows she has to and she can. That's the important emphasis there. On Mercury, you have Pholus, Quaoar, these are centaurs, and it's actually Quaoar is a TNO, but as you know, in karmic astrology, we use centaur as a common denominator for any trans-Neptunian, because they all describe our karmic wounds, so in different ways and manners. Pholus was very prominent in the pandemic period. It's interesting because its glyph really looks like a bacteriophage, which is the virus itself. And Pholus denotes the idea, the notion that the buck stops here. And Quaoar is one of my favorite TNOs because it is creation through your body, through singing and dancing. So yes, you can create out of nothingness just by what you have, utilize what you have. And Caus Borealis, I'm going to show you, it's one of the stars of Sagittarius. On Jupiter, you have Gilgamesh, a hero. On Astrea, you have Alhina, Gamma Gemini, which I think a couple of times I already showed you, not this time though, because we are going to concentrate on 2 other stars. But Alhina is a special star because it is on the ecliptic. It's of course an ecliptic constellation, Gemini, and it is also on the Milky Way because that's the foot of one of the celestial twins. And Alhina in Arabic means the proudly marching one. So someone who has this star prominent in the chart is someone who knows what she or he wants and goes and gets it. It's a very beautiful star. I love it. I have it on my Mercury, so of course I love it. And on Lilith, you have Hecate, the dark moon goddess, and Thuban, which again is it's Alpha Draco, so I'm going to show it to you in a minute. But before that, in the London chart, we have a fixed Grand Cross and also a fixed Earth engine. So this is a dissolved Grand Cross, so to speak. And because the ascendant-descendant creates it with the Lilith Uranus opposition. So this is the fixed Grand Cross. And as you can see, and probably you know, fixed Grand Crosses are very difficult energies because fixed squares are always things, as Judy Hall explained, things that you have ingrained it in many incarnations and you're stuck with it and you haven't even tried to resolve it. And when you have 4 of them with 2 oppositions in the middle, that is really a very heavy cross. But luckily, it is we get a redemption by Juno, which then created this fixed Earth engine because it makes an Earth trine to Uranus. So actually, there is hope. You can come out of this stuck energy if we pay attention and we are willing to make the necessary changes, Uranus, and also if we are willing to make liaisons and contracts and pacts. On the ascendant, you have Hera, which is another form of Juno, of course. Hera is the Greek counterpart, so the more ancient version of the goddess. And Hera is more about insecurities and jealousy, whereas Juno is really the queen of heaven, the mother of gods. But of course, both are strong archetypes of the supporting feminine, someone who is the first lady archetype, let's put it this way. So that's rising, she's rising on the ascendant. On Uranus, you have Justitia, justice, and Buddha, enlightenment, which is great. I think both are great here. On Lilith, you have Tach, the god who is creating the Egyptian god who's creating mankind on a wheel using clay, and Zuben el-Shamali, which is one of the scales of Libra. We are not going to deal with it, but actually Zuben el-Shamali, according to Bernadette Brady, is a star where negative social reforms are being cooked up or linked to, and it's again finding the right balance by utilizing the changes to our benefit. And on Juno, you have Nyx, Thalia, and Aphidas. Nyx is the night. Thalia is, of course, the smoke screen that we are seeing, that we are going to show a theater, and nothing is ever true. The way I call it, it's the big fake legacy media smoke screen that are being presented to us. Nothing is ever what they show, and they lie through their teeth all the time. And Aphidas we are going to look at in a minute. It's a centaur. It's from the inner Kuiper belt. The orbital period is 76.26 years, so it's 76.25 years. And according to its mythology, he is invited to a wedding where he gets drunk and rapes all the women there. And when he falls asleep, and the host kills him. And so it's a very dark and gloomy and horrible centaur. It shows the instinctual behavior of an animal energy. And this is it. This is how it pans out, that rape against someone just because I can, just because I am, this is my wish, this is my desire, and I'm going to play it out, and I don't care. I totally disregard what you think, and I also disregard the consequences. Now, this is happening in Europe. That's exactly what's happening. And as I'm preparing this, we are going to have a summit in the EU, in the council, and they want us to sign all kinds of things, which we Hungarians are strongly opposing. And we are the only one who can, because we have a strong government, whereas the rest of the idiots in the Western countries elected patchwork governments who are very, very delicate and very prone to be broken, and of course prone to be blackmailed by each other. So the whole thing is going to hell. And Afidas is really showing it, because Juno is also liaisons and contracts, and Afidas is on Juno. So that is exactly happening here in Europe. And the astrological delineation is linked to immortal or dishonest deeds. That's what you see all over across the board. The desires or the ability to disregard consequences, obviously. Drunken, oblivious, insensitive stupors. I think if you take a look at what happened in the climate summit, which just finished in Dubai, of all the places, Dubai. These guys went there. They have a horrible. They left a horrible carbon footprint, and they want you to stop eating meat, to stop using airplanes, to stop using cars, to fuel your home. For what? I mean, this is so ridiculous. Okay, we should start worrying once they really try to implement all these rules on us. Until then, we just have to laugh at them, because they are ridiculous and dishonest, and they are lying through their teeth. And that's exactly what Afidas is signifying. And also issues of crime and punishment are also linked to it. And again, the motto is, I don't care for anyone or anything. I want to fulfill my desires. That is actually happening in the world. So here is Draco, the celestial dragon, that is circling around the pole star. And as you can see, here's Thuban. One of my personal favorite is Giansha, probably because it is on my Uranus and trans-Pluto conjunction. And Giansha, as you can see, is the last little loop of the celestial dragon. And Thuban is the last but one. That's the alpha star. And Grumium is in the mouth of the celestial dragon. So is our wide, it's really the eye. And then Grumium is really the mouth. And that is where the dragon can create the fire that is coming out of her mouth. So that strength by which I can protect the true treasures of what I have is linked to Grumium, the ability to protect by throwing energy or fire out there. And here's Caus Borealis, which is Lambda Sagittarius. A couple of days ago, we talked about Fasces, which is the stare of the celestial centaur. And you have to remember that centaurs, actually archers, were the Wunderwaffe, the wonder weapons of old ages, because they could actually kill from a huge distance. And that's what these stars signify. Fasces is the eye, actually is the nebula in the archer's head, which means that I'm going to pay attention. And then Caus Borealis is the northern portion of the bow. And the whole thing suggests that I'm paying attention to it, and I'm going to aim, and I'm going to reach what I need. And in many nations, the fact that I'm using a bow and arrow, and my main aim is not to kill. My main aim is really to find an aim is from my inside, and project something out there in order to reach that aim. That is the symbolism of the archer, of the celestial archer. We are nearing the new year. I am going to prepare a longer video on the next year. Hopefully I will finish it soon. If not this year, this week, because I have a lot to prepare. I usually like to give things that I'm creating with my hands. So I'm crocheting, I'm knitting, and we are baking with my granddaughters. But I will definitely make a video on the next year, at least the main points. And I'm not going to look at things in very, very detail. We are just concentrating on the January 1st chart, maybe the equinox chart. I will see. And until then, be good and try to really change your life. There are energies out there which protect you and which help you. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.